Hello, and welcome to Horrorific Tales. In this show we celebrate the creation of independent authors and aspiring writers. Please like and subscribe and share these episodes so we can help our talented friends get as much exposure as possible. We would also appreciate it if you could support our artists by following them on their individual platforms and by purchasing their works. Details on how to do this are in the episode description. Today's horrific tale is the second excerpt from the novel Redacted by Tristan Hutchinson. Sit back and relax as we present to you the chapter entitled Anna. It has been over a day and still no calls or messages have come from Emily, which is very uncommon for her. There were times she practically had to place her phone down and walk away to get a break. She practically blew up Emily's phone yesterday and didn't hear a single response. Anna really needed to find out what was going on with her bestie, so she could go on with her life. One last time, she thought as she dialed Emily's phone. Instead of hearing her voice, she got that loud, annoying tone and the robotic voice stating her line had been disconnected. Disconnected? Fuck! For the first time in years, she had that feeling of dread creep into her. Did something bad happen to her friend? The thought crossed her mind a couple of times. She tried to fight off these feelings of anxiety. No, not me. This is not me. Emily maybe, but not me. She continued fighting back her feelings. If you wanted to be popular in school, you didn't show any signs of weakness, no matter the price. For years Anna showed no weakness, and it wasn't going to change now. Fuck! I'm going to kill her when I find her, she thought, feeling like she was losing the fight with her heart. Her hands began to sweat and feel all clammy. I so need to get the fuck out of here, she thought to herself, fleeing from her room, fleeing from her torment, forgetting to shut off her computer. Anna flew out the front door. Her parents were both at work and were not expected home until later. She knew a good walk would soothe her nerves, and who knows, maybe she could check on her friend on the way home. She was wrong. Instead of doing any good, her work tormented her even more. Her mind was free to dwell on everything. There was nothing to distract her. She quickened her pace. It was frustrating that nothing could stop her thoughts. She still had at least 15 minutes left before she got back home. It was so tempting to just give in to her feelings, like she used to before high school, before her popularity contest with every female in her grade. Being the best in her class was all that mattered, and pouting like a baby was not part of that dream, no matter how good it would feel. Come on, Anna, pick yourself up. This is so not worth losing it all, she kept on telling herself. Whack! It was like someone had just gut punched her. The last thing she expected to see when passing by Emily's house was a crime scene. Wake up! She closed her eyes and pinched her skin, hoping the scene she saw was only in her mind. But when she opened her eyes, nothing changed. The windows were still busted, and crime scene tape was taped on every door into the house. What the fuck was going on here? All at once she began to feel sick in her stomach. She bent over, holding her belly, hoping she wouldn't throw up there. I'm not going to do it. Not where someone might see me. Her heart began to race, and everything began to spin until it all went black. Ali quickly dialed 911. Soon the paramedics would be coming over to take her mother to the hospital. Ali stood, standing by her mother, her phone in one hand, tears streaking down her face. It happened all too quickly. First the argument, then a loud noise. She flew out of her room, and that's when she saw her mother on the floor in the pool of blood. Then a line of blood went up to the stairs, to the spot where she banged her head. Within seconds, Ali could hear sirens outside. A team of medics burst through her door and ran over to where her mum was lying. A medic, not much older than Ali, came over to ask her a few questions. He must have seen how shaken up she was, because after every question he looked into her eyes and smiled. The kind of smile that told you everything was going to be okay. A part of her wanted to believe him so much. Deep down she felt like everything was spiralling out of control. The man led her to the ambulance once her mum was inside. As soon as Ali made it to the hospital, she was brought to the emergency room waiting area. It was torture for Ali to be waiting in the room alone, without any idea how her mum was. After the night she had, the last thing she wanted was to sit. She had too many things to think and worry about. Hanging from the ceiling near her was a TV, but nothing exciting was on. Ali was so bored, she needed to talk to Lauren. Within seconds, Ali was calling Lauren. She doesn't care what her mum would say. At times I guess she need a friend. And Lauren had been there ever since middle school. Hey Lauren. Aye, what's wrong? Has something happened to you? Immediately Lauren could sense something wasn't right. Can you come to the hospital? My mum just fell down the stairs, she said, fighting back her tears. Oh my God, I'll be right there. Anna woke up on the ground to the sound of footsteps approaching. The sky was dark now. She had no idea how long she'd been passed out for. Her head was pounding. It felt like she had a fucking hangover from drinking a 24-pack of beer. She stumbled on her legs to make a quick lunge towards a bush to conceal herself. The footsteps were getting closer. All she could tell that the figure was wearing black shoes. The figure became more visible as they approached Emily's house. Anna could tell immediately he was a police officer. Just her luck, she'd get some help getting out of this place. Her body hurt all over, and the last thing she wanted to do was walk back home. Something didn't feel right about this police officer. He was acting too strange. He was constantly looking over his shoulder, almost like he was expected to be watched. The kind of behaviour you'd expect from a person who was up to no good. No, she wasn't going to yell for help, at least not yet. The officer slowly approached the front door and knocked on it, expecting somebody to be home. Was Emily's mum home? Would she have stayed in a house that looked like it had been in the war? He waited patiently outside, with his arms tapping his legs. No matter what, the officer just couldn't keep still. From behind she could hear another set of footsteps approaching, much faster this time. Maybe he called for backup, she thought to herself, while quickly looking for a new hiding place. There was nowhere else she could hide near the bush. If she moved, they would spot her. The only thing left to do was crouch down closer to the ground and hope the darkness would conceal her more. Anna sat perfectly still, though her insides were quivering, praying she would not be seen. The footsteps passed by her and she could feel her heart beating quicker. Surely it must be safe to look now. She looked up but saw nothing. Either the figure kept on walking, or they were dressed completely in black, hidden in the darkness. Her eyes turned towards the police officer, who was still waiting, but you could tell he was losing his patience quite fast. He knocked on the door again. She looked away, back towards the street, and that's when she spotted the figure again from earlier. The figure approached the officer quickly, but was careful not to make a single sound. Within a leap, the figure was on the officer, its arm around his neck. With a simple twist, the officer's neck broke with a loud snap. Holy shit, she muttered under her breath, praying the figure didn't hear her. She knew the figure was still around. The last thing Anna wanted was to look up. She could hear it breathing. There was no sign of sympathy for the life it stole away. It was as calm as can be. The complete opposite of her. Her hands and body were trembling. She felt a warmth spreading out from between her legs. Yeah, Anna, go on a walk to calm your nerves, just so you could fucking witness a murder. She was so angry at herself, and so scared to death at the same time. Anna could still hear its breathing, like it knew she was there hiding. The figure walked towards where she was hiding. Leaves rustled under their feet with every step towards her. Anna could barely breathe. Her heart was racing too fast. But she knew the only chance of getting through this was to hold her breath. The figure stopped right by the bush she was hiding behind. She could practically feel their breath on her skin, smelling their hot stale breath as it rushed past her nose. One move and Anna would be dead. The figure just stood as still as could be, like some predator searching for his kill. Anna could feel her leg muscles seize up. She could feel the pain spread all over her leg like a plague. If the figure didn't move anytime soon, she would be forced to move. Her leg moved a fraction of an inch, just enough to cause the bush to shake. She immediately froze. It was too late. The figure already spotted her. It reached for her, just as a burst of adrenaline went through Anna and she sprinted out of the way. Pain shot up her legs, but it didn't stop her from running. She ran straight towards home, not looking back at all, too scared the figure might be chasing her. Anna both prayed that her family was home when she got there, but hope nobody questioned the state of her pants. That's an embarrassment she just couldn't go through. Anna sprinted into her house, immediately slamming and locking the door behind. Finally she could catch her breath. She hadn't run like that in years. Once her breathing slowed, she took a step forward and immediately felt a shooting pain in her leg. Her adrenaline must have been wearing off. All she wanted to do now was get off her feet and relax. Anna limped towards her bedroom and closed the door. Her computer was left on and the screensaver bounced around her screen. She needed to calm her nerves now. She knew searching through the feeds usually made her feel better. Anna walked to her computer and sat on her comfy computer chair. With the flick of her mouse, her computer came to life. Immediately, her profile popped up. She refreshed her screen and saw a bunch of new posts flood her screen. Finally, something to take her mind off things. She scrolled down through the first few posts and didn't see anything too interesting. Anna scrolled a little more and saw a picture of Emily's house with broken windows. It felt like her heart sank to the floor. It was posted a couple of minutes ago. What sick fuck would post that? She thought to herself. Ding! The sound of an instant message chimed in through her speakers. Curious, Anna clicked on the message. It was Emily. Hey Emily, what the fuck happened? My house was broken into. My phone was stolen and a few other items. I posted the pic of my house to see if I can catch the bastard. Thank God you're okay. What are you up to? The message stopped suddenly. What the fuck, Emily? Your post popped on her screen. The post came up with several pictures of her unconscious on the ground near Emily's house. Anna could feel her heartbeat racing. Quickly she reached for her phone, knocking her mouse to the ground. She gulped and tried grabbing the mouse from the floor. Her trembling hands made it hard to grasp anything. Fuck! Ding! Another instant message popped up. She sat back straight in her chair to see if Emily wrote back. Need help picking up your mouse? Knock it off, Emily. You're giving me the fucking creeps, she typed as her eyes glazed around the room. A circle appeared on her computer, loading newer posts. The first post showed several pictures of Anna sitting at her computer. Anna's body began shaking. Ding! What's wrong, Anna? I thought you loved life in the spotlight. Her cursor began to move, like it was being controlled by a ghost. With a click, a live session began streaming. Anna's heart was pounding so fast. Emily, this isn't funny! She screamed out. I am not Emily, but you can tell her that in hell, a voice whispered from behind. The next moment a strong hand gripped Anna's body, bringing her closer to the camera. With a sudden jerk, a knife sliced through her throat, spraying blood onto the lens. Well, we hope that you enjoyed our latest horrific tale. If you want to keep up to date with future episodes, then subscribe to our YouTube channel and like or follow our social media pages. You can also give the channel support by visiting our merchandise store and picking up some of our items. Please also take a moment to support our contributing artists who very kindly lend their talents to the show. Check out the links in the description on how you can do this. Well, that just leaves me to say, until next time my friends, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.